Hey, lower elementary. Today we're going to start talking about the globe. So what is the globe? Well, the globe is a model of our Earth. Just like you might enjoy cars, toy cars, or maybe a small animal, those are just models of that animal, a smaller scale model of the larger animal. And the globe is a spherical model of our Earth. As a matter of fact, the word globe comes from the Latin word globus, which means sphere. So what are globes used for? Well, they're used for helping us learn more about our Earth and find other locations. And so today we are going to talk about some important words that you should know, some important parts of the globe. So let's get started. Okay, so the first important part of the globe that we're going to talk about is one you're familiar with. It's the axis of the Earth. And remember that the axis is that imaginary line that stretches from the North Pole and connects to the South Pole. And our Earth rotates on its axis. And remember that the axis is also tilted. And that is how we get our seasons. So I'm going to label the word axis. I've got some labels here. I have some tape. Axis. So I am just going to get a bit of tape. And I'm going to make a little loop with the tape, put it on the back. And I think I'm going to put the axis label right here on the top because this is where the axis for this globe is connected, right here. And the Earth's axis is of course an imaginary line, but on the globe you can actually see that this is what the globe is rotating around. Okay, let's see what is next. While we're up here at the top of the globe, let's talk about the North Pole. So the North Pole is the northernmost point on the Earth's axis, and it's located in the Arctic Circle. Very cold up here at the North Pole. So let's label that. North Pole. If you have a globe at home, you could label your globe as well. You could make a video of it. If you don't have a globe at home, you might even want to draw one. You could still label the parts. Okay, so here is the North Pole, the northernmost point on our Earth and on our globe at the axis. Okay, what's next? If we're going to talk about the North Pole, we should talk about the South Pole. The South Pole is the southernmost point. Let me make my label, South Pole. Give it a little trim. Get my tape ready. The South Pole is the southernmost point on the Earth's axis. It's located in Antarctica. So here's the North Pole and the northernmost point. If we come down here, we have the South Pole, the most southern point on the Earth's axis. And it's located in Antarctica. So we have South Pole and the North Pole. You may have noticed that there are lines running down the globe, and they run down the globe all the way around. Now, they're not real lines on our Earth, but they're very important because these are called the lines of longitude. And these lines they help us find places or describe positions on Earth. For example, you'll see numbers on here. So there will be a line of longitude for every location on our Earth. So it helps us find those places. So let's label the lines of longitude. And I'll just put it by this line of longitude. Now, there's a very important line of longitude that we need to remember, and it is located in England. Here it is, the prime meridian. The prime meridian is 0 degrees. It separates the halves of our Earth or our globe. The eastern and the western half or hemisphere is separated by this line, the prime meridian. So let's label that prime meridian, separating the east and the western hemispheres or halves. Okay. And it's already labeled, but we'll just put it right on top. Here is the prime meridian. Okay. Now, while looking at the globe, you might have also noticed not only are there lines of longitude, but there are lines of latitude going this direction across our globe. Lines of latitude. So let's label those. The lines of latitude. And I'll put that right here upon this one. So once again, these lines help us find locations. You would have a line of latitude and a line of longitude. And wherever those meet is how you would find a certain location. Now, just like there was a very important line of longitude, the prime meridian, there's a very important line of latitude, and that is called the equator. And it's the imaginary line that separates the northern half or hemisphere and the southern half or hemisphere. And this is 0 degrees latitude, the equator. So let's label the equator. We'll just put it right on the line. Okay. Now, as we know from our studies of the Earth's rotation, the equator receives the most direct rays from the sun. And so it is the warmest place on our Earth. Now, there are 2 other imaginary lines on this Earth that mark an area. And the first one is called the Tropic of Cancer. And it's an imaginary line right here, not too far above the equator. And it goes all the way around the globe. And we're going to mark the Tropic of Cancer with a label that says tropics. Now, if we go past the equator and we travel south, we have another line, imaginary line, that is called the Tropic of Capricorn. And we're going to mark that with a line with a label that says the tropics. So from here to here, all the way around the globe, we call this area the tropics. It gets more direct sunlight, therefore it has more tropical weather and tropical forests. The last important parts of the globe that we're going to talk about today are the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So the northern hemisphere is starting at the equator and traveling north to the Arctic Circle or the North Pole. So this half of the globe of our Earth is the northern hemisphere. So let's take our northern hemisphere label, and I'm going to start it at the equator, and I am going to put it upward. And I could even draw some little arrows. I think I'm going to say that this keeps going until we reach the North Pole. So if that is the northern hemisphere, then the southern hemisphere must start at the equator and travel south all the way to the South Pole. So this area or half of our Earth is the southern hemisphere. So let's put our southern hemisphere label going down, and I can draw an arrow to remind us that it continues the southern hemisphere to the South Pole. And there you go. There are some of the important parts of the globe.